got into the mode. All right, take two. Hey guys, welcome to my Namek podcast. I'm your host, Cynical AJ. We're here to bring you our weekly anime review by covering 3 anime, and this week we have covered 18 If episode 1. We also have the OVA. I believe it's the beheading cycle, the Blue Savant, and the nonsense mentor. I think that.
Master.
Which thing? Wait, what? Who?
It's something. It's men's.
This
He's talking about
I hope I wrote
the one with the super long Japanese title.
the Kabuki
I wasn't
cycle
gonna do that.
thing. I hope I
Something
watched.
like that,
Oh,
something
okay.
like
I hope I watched the right thing.
But yeah, it's an 8-part. It's an 8-part OVA, and I think that we're going to try to go ahead and knock that out for the next couple of weeks because it looks like that has a mystery with it. We also have our episode 2 of Love and Lies. This was also a pretty interesting episode. As you hear the voices, I'm here joined by my co-host. We have Polly the Wise Guy.
Consecutive normal punches.
And Emperor Kusan.
First Archbishop of the Church of Frieza. I think that's what I. That's what I settled on. Clergy.
I made the fucking
The
clubs
clergy, man.
The
just
clergy.
made
The clergy of.
clubs, and then everybody just jumped on that damn bandwagon. And I get no respect for it. If you're new with us, shame on you, but it's always nice to have new people around the crib. We do our reviews one of 3 ways. We either give it a mind Namek if we love it, a needs more training if we feel that is so-so, or a special being canon if we feel that is utter shit. How'd you guys feel about this week of anime, guys?
So
No. Go ahead.
go for it.
I'm a little. I don't know. I think 2 of them kind of fell into the same camp for me. But
I feel the same way.
okay, 2 of them kind of fell into the same thing for me. But yeah. Otherwise, and one I am surprisingly delighted that I'm liking. So.
How about you, Polly?
So I felt the same exact way because I know what he's talking about. Like, I got the same exact vibe from watching Kubikiri Cycle and
18.
whatever. Yeah, 18F.
Yeah.
So there were similar vibes going on for those. So I felt like, man, I was like, wow, this is like incredibly similar. But there was some distinct things, and I can almost guarantee I know which one Preston liked more. All right.
All right, so let's move on to it. Let's cover our new one that we have, 18 If. Kursan, how did you feel about that?
Hooey. Okay, so like, whoa. Oh, sorry. Okay. Anyways, so 18 If. Jeez. You know, I really. First of all, okay, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna beam cannon this one. I didn't quite like. It didn't really like do anything for me. Okay. Like, the opening was kind of cool, so I was like, when I was watching, I was like, all right, cool, this is gonna be some sort of like, you know, weird, what's that video game, Catherine kind of thing, like some Alice in Wonderland thing. I don't know, like, it ended up just like, I felt like it was like some sort of like cut rate Summer Wars at the end of it. Like, I just didn't get what was going on. Was it just me, or was like, and also I felt like the animation was lacking, like, I was actually like
super lacking.
Like,
super
I was just
lacking.
yeah, and I was like, you know, oh, they're trying to do like this like artsy, colorful thing, but it was like the animation didn't look like it. The thing that like it kind of reminded me of. Did any of you ever watch? It was on Nickelodeon. It was called Kappa Mikey.
Kappa Mikey? No, I never
You ever,
seen
okay, well,
Me neither.
all right, look it up. It's kind of this weird Nickelodeon show. I'll post links somewhere. But basically, like it was like this like half like traditional like just terrible flash animation, half like they did like these super serious parts. This just looked like they're joking serious parts, like just like the way it was looking. It didn't It just didn't look good. Um, the other question too is like they were like, oh man, like first off, like I don't know what the deal with the main character was. Like he was just like there, and like that's how he acted. He was just like, yo, I'm here, and they're just like, wow, you really know what you're
Super
doing. He's like,
lethargic.
yeah, and he was just like, yeah, I guess I'm really cool at this. I guess my head got cut off. I guess I'm in a dream world. I guess I'm invincible. And then it's like, hey, you better wake up this girl. She's like in this fantastic dream world. She's a witch and she has all these powers. Why the fuck would I want to wake up? Like I was like in this awesome place and now I'm like back into like
Looking
high.
at you.
Yeah, I'm like back in this place where they're like I'm getting bullied and like why would I, why am I going back there? Like I don't want to go back there. And then like all the dialogue was like this weird like just gobbledygook where they're just like
Did you watch the dub?
no, I watched the sub.
Oh my god, the dub was so terrible.
I can't even imagine because even in the sub, I watched the sub and I'm trying to read it and I'm like, what are they talking about? Now the only good thing I'll give it is I did like the concept of the cat, like this cat thing that's walking around like helping him out. Like that was kind of cool, but like there was no like he was just kind of being there and everybody was just like a stick in the mud. Like the main character was like, "Oh, I guess you're a cat that talks." Oh well. Like well, all right, like I don't know. It just like you know what I wish the art looked like. I don't know if you've ever seen Casshern Sins.
Yeah, Casher and Sins.
Yeah, I wish the art was like that.
See,
Like I wish it was
now,
just but like I wish it was
hold
just
on.
more I don't know.
So Casher and Sins, I don't think now I don't think that you necessarily like let me see. I think that I don't think that you necessarily like the like do you like the models or do you like the setting? Because I think that the thing that make Casher and Sins the thing that makes Casher and Sins happens is not the art design of everything, but rather the setting of which everything is at. Because if anything, Casher and Sins came out what 2000 like 2008 2007,
Yeah.
and I was looking at this shit and I was like, this is like the most 80s Kakiter bullshit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I was not okay with it at first, and then I had to get used to it over time.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, I just couldn't. I don't know. Like I just couldn't deal with the show. Like I don't know. I just didn't. Just it's like it was like trying to be like really pretentious and mysterious and like Alice in Wonderlandy, and it just added. It was just like too. It was just like trying too hard, and the animation just wasn't like. I might have given this more of a pass if the animation and like the voices were a little bit better. I kind of want to go back and watch the dub just to see like how bad it was, but yeah. So special beam cannon for me. That's all I have to say about it.
All right,
Uh,
before we go on to me, I just want to say that I would have lost money because I was for sure that he was going to choose that one over the other one. All right, so you proved me wrong, Preston. You
Oh, okay.
proved me wrong.
Pleasantly surprised, actually.
Yes.
Paulie, how'd you feel about this?
Yeah. So I agree with every negative aspect that he mentioned about this one. Like, not only was the main character like so lethargic and like just meh, like it was just like it took away from everything. Like all the stakes were kind of like lessened by that too. It's kind of like you didn't since he didn't care if he lived or died. You're just like, should I care? And furthermore, like the story kind of undermined itself within this first episode too. Like all the Alice in Wonderland aspects of it were kind of like taken and ruined when you find out that in the grand scheme of things, this chick who's like the villain or witch might not even be like a central character to the story beyond this episode. Like I
Yeah.
was really hoping like she was gonna be like something bigger. Also, despite the fact that the animation was just so horrible and it didn't convey any of the characters as looking interesting or whatever, but I was like, well, maybe if she goes on to be like something throughout, this can take on this like pseudo alternate world Alice in Wonderland, but it didn't pay off. So by the end of the episode, when you realize that uh, that the rabbit whole thing about, oh, you if you die in a dream world, you die in real life. It's just like BS because he got his head cut off, and you're like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I got I got turned
Again,
into a cake and eaten. Well, well.
why? Like, I just hate things like that too because I feel like if there are no stakes, what is my incentive to watch this? Like,
Yeah.
I don't have like the character doesn't care about himself or anything else. And for like at the end of the episode, he just went back to sleep. Like it was just like, what the? Why am I even watching this shit? So yeah, special beam the fuck out of this shit.
All right, so a special beam cannon from Paulie. All right, so one of the things that when I was watching this, one the dubbing was terrible. Like it it might just be it really is the structure of the dialogue. Like it's not it doesn't sound like two people talking, but rather one person talking and then one person speaking on the other side of the street, and they're like getting it on fucking tape delay. It was kind of like odd. Also, the fact that like also it was just like this weird thing where like I'm watching it and it feels so poorly paced, and then when I got to the end, I was like, wait, this witch is not important past this point because she essentially finds the friend that she wanted because that's her point of being a fucking terrorist on the internet. Like that shit was dumb.
I,
And like it was just like if you're just going to tell a story, then make that the thing. And I also get that this is a game that they're trying to sell because, as me and Paulie were talking about it, these JRPGs love trying to poop out some fucking anime to try to make some extra sweet fucking mobile cash off of you.
well, I didn't know this. Is this based off of a game?
This is based off a mobile app, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I knew not. I was just like, well, this is a fucking Alice in Wonderland weirdo thing.
Rachel Bahamut was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I know. Although I'm interested to watch the second season because I guess it's like really bad.
Yeah, I could tell it's bad.
Yeah.
But at either rate, like this wasn't a good anime by any measure. The animation was really poorly. Like it's poor. Like it was. It's not that like the animation was poor and the art design was poor. Also, it just felt like it was like it felt like it was a 90s cartoon being remastered. That's how it felt.
It almost kind of felt Digimon-ish or something. Like,
I don't even think that it felt Digimon-ish because Digimon still had like some
You're right, not
fluidity.
Digimon, not like Digimon Try-ish is more like it.
Shut the fuck up, dude. Anyway, point still being is that this was really bad. And it was almost unbearable. I'll give it a special beam cannon as well, and hopefully we will never see the likes of this ever again. But you know, we cover enough of these that we probably will. Anyway, moving on. Let us cover Love and Lies, episode 2. Paulie, how did you feel about this?
Okay, so in episode 2, we get introduced to the main character's assigned wife. Despite the fact that he read a text message in the previous episode that said he was assigned to, why is her name escaping me right now? I can't think, but to the girl of his dreams, his childhood love. In actuality, he's assigned by their system to this girl with pigtails, and she's actually kind of cute and proper, and she calls him out on his BS and shit like that. So that's pretty cool. And she's actually excited to hear his story of love. In a weird way, I think this is kind of like a interesting development because I think she finds this situation to be weird too, and I think that most people their age would agree. Like you're being paired with somebody and you don't get a chance to kind of like pre-screen them or do anything, and you're gonna have to rely on this system to do it for you. And she looks to be well off. So her family looks to be like rich or whatever. So he's definitely at this point getting the better end of the stick. But despite all of that, he's rude to her, and because he doesn't want to be with her, he's already made up his mind. And I think you find out some other things in this episode, like there's a fee associated with if you want to get out of an assigned marriage, which is how they kind of like make these things kind of like stick. in this dystopian world of Japan that they've created here. So I don't know. I really enjoyed this episode. I'm really enjoying this series. I'm really enjoying the way it's shaping up. I love the fact that she's interested in helping him fulfill his wish of being with his true love. My name.
Uh, weird, because I really thought you were going to give this a needs more training. Because I'm giving it a needs more training. I
You
felt like
fucking fuck.
the I felt like the like his new wife to be she I don't feel like she was really that great of a character, and they made her central, or rather because of the fact that she you could tell that she has this long that she does want to love him, or she does want to like be a part of this in some manner. She's also like very childlike, where she's just like, I want to go ahead and be bossy and shit like that, and it's okay. I just didn't feel like she was interesting enough. I feel like this concept of the story is far better than the story presented itself. um and not that the story is bad, but I just feel like what carries this is the concept and not necessarily the story. So, Paul, you were going to say something? No.
Well, I mean, I feel like she's oh well, it's too soon to kind of like so like basically in future episodes you kind of learn a little bit more about her character or whatever. It's not really that she's being childlike or bossy. She has a naivete about her because she doesn't really because she's kind of socially awkward.
Yeah,
That's what it
they
is.
kind of cover that in this episode where they talk about how she's just like, oh, I made a friend. Like nobody wants to talk to me.
Right. So like for her that's like a big deal. So I think that more than anything she's like this is like being an assigned wife is like the gateway into her actually having companionship on a friend level more so than anything.
Hmm. This doesn't sound like a dystopian future. This sounds like the thing that we need for our society, actually. So, uh, marriage is just one big sham anyway. So don't worry about it, guys. Anyway,
Hey guys.
look,
Hey
I,
guys,
I'm,
it's just an
I'm,
institution, man.
I'm just giving you the truth, guys. Anyway, but yeah, I'm giving that a needs more training. I feel like things are okay with it, but I don't feel like there's anything that's necessarily blowing me away. Um, Kursan, how did you feel about this?
So, I started watching the show and like, I liked the first episode, but like for some reason like every time I turn the show on, I'm like I'm not going to like this show and I'm not going to like this stuff. And then like I don't know, this show has found a way to like just wiggle its way into my heart somehow. I don't know. Like I
Yes,
end up
you've
like
been to the
I
love.
I end up watching it, and I'm like no, and then this show's really good at like just giving me all these like awkward teen high school feels. Like I'm just like oh like I like this girl, but I kind of like this girl, and like I don't know, and but it's like I don't know for some reason something on it is touching in my like primordial teenage boy core somewhere where I'm just like oh I have all these feels. The only thing that like um one thing I don't understand too. I don't know if this is like I don't know why people are always in the fucking nurse's office in the animes. Like she spent like all this time in the nurse office, and it's like man, like if I was in school, like I would have to be like bleeding on the floor for them to go to the nurse office. And she's just like, oh, I feel a little hot.
Yeah,
Can I just go sit in the
I feel like
nurse?
that's
What
something
kind of school did you go
very
to?
specific.
I don't know. That's how they are here.
Wait, I
Yeah,
went to
well,
the
I just feel like
because I went to the nurse's office just to get if I had headaches, or just because I would lie about having headaches, and I would go
They would
and
never.
just sit
I
there.
don't know. In Kenosha, man, they'd just
yeah,
be like, "Are you lying? Sit down." Like
What do
literally, I
you
have to have like
mean?
an arm
yes,
cut off
They're
in order
not
to.
doctors.
yeah,
They're
but that's not it.
nurses.
So like, hold on. The thing is, like, the portrayal of nurses offices within anime is that like basically it's like if you want to just jack off for a whole half of a day,
You
you can
just-
spend the entire evening there. It's just like they make it seem like it's like a daycare center or some shit like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
But
Maybe
like,
it's just different. I don't know. Maybe it's
no,
different.
I agree with you. Like my impression of nursing offices was much like Preston, like her son said. Like that's what it was like for me. You couldn't just go chill in the nurse's office the entire day at school. Nah, fuck that.
It
Nah,
must
if I
must
didn't feel like
maybe
being
it's
in class,
must be
I
like a
just
Midwest thing or something. Like get
if
back
I
in the
didn't feel like being in
cornfield.
class, I'd just be like, yo, I got a headache. Like, what else you gonna tell me? You gonna tell me I don't have a headache? I'm gonna sit there for like 45 minutes. I'm gonna lay down on that little bed that you got in there. I'm gonna take a nap. Feel me? And then you gonna wake me up with some crackers, and I'm gonna be on my merry way. Like that's how that works.
I have never had that happen. Like I went to the nurse office like once, I think, because I was just like literally about to throw up, and they were just like, I don't know. Like,
The
I don't know. It's just the
Now,
it's the public
that's,
school system is
hey,
little.
it's a close call. Not real sure here.
Like if we give you this bucket, then can you go back to class? Cause
that's fucked up.
the
What
other
kind of shit is?
I don't know. That's just how it. I don't know. That's how it is here. I don't know if the school culture is different elsewhere, but here it's just like
You make it
Auschwitz or
sound
something.
like the fucking teachers are smoking cigarettes and they just put it out in their hand. They're just like, all right.
Are you
They're
better
like,
now?
McGinnison, tell us what the answer to number 5 is.
Take a
Like,
salt.
what?
Take a salt tablet. Walk it off. Um. So and the other thing too is like I also feel like this like if we had to like bottom text a meme this whole episode, it would just be like when your girl meet your side bitch. I guess. Like that's how I feel like this whole like that's how I feel this whole episode was about, was him just being like when they first met I was just like, oh shit, how's this gonna go down, and I don't know. I'm liking the characters. I'm liking kind of the whole just the interplay between them. Like I'm kind of wondering, like, is this guy gonna catch feels for the new girl? Because like, and I mean, even though that she's like, I'm socially awkward and have no friends, but then like when he walked in, he was like, this girl's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. Like I don't know if that's just like some Taylor Swift stuff where it's like, I don't know, where
So
like
what's your
I give it a Namek. I do like this show. Like I usually end up with a smile on my face and kind of wanting to see more as I watch this.
cool? All right, so we got 2 dynamics and 1 needs more training. Seems like I'm the odd man out, and we're gonna have to watch this for another week. Whatever. Anyway, this should be interesting. Moving forward, we have the beheading cycle, Blue Savant, and the nonsense mentor or master, as Paulie wanted to go ahead and say. So I think that so as an 8-part OVA, this is supposed to be setting up as a mystery of some kind of murder that may be happening.
つまり
We haven't got to that point yet, other than a vast amount of dialogue that happened, and it seemed like there was a lot of philosophical dialogue, and especially in the beginning. And I felt like in the beginning that was a real good way to bring somebody in. But as the episode went on, I kind of felt myself getting like kind of drowned out of it, and I also kind of felt like the way that they ended the episode was really abrupt. I'm not sure if it feels this way, but we'll see.
I do.
Paulie, how'd you? Okay, so Paulie, how'd you feel?
So, this was very exposition heavy episode. In fact, I had to watch this episode twice because I felt like I lost or missed a lot of things. So I went back and watched it a second time so I could just make sure I caught everything. But I will say, before I kind of like get further along into things, the episode did end abruptly for me, especially with like not having established what like the goal of the series is, and I feel like that's a key factor that a pilot episode should kind of like do, is just like make sure that we kind of understand what we're investing our time for. So I will take off points for that, but I think I would be remiss for not pointing out the animation, the art style, the scene and shot choices that they chose to do. Stylistically, that very that opening dialogue between those two characters was such um, a like a beautiful thing to watch,
Yeah.
and I found myself very enchanted by it because I was just like so zoned into this conversation that they were having, and the scenery and the way that they were shooting back and forth between the characters, the angles that they were using, like the things that they were doing were not regularly done in other anime, and I was really amazed by that. And the art was just like gorgeous. So it needs credit for that. I will say, at this current juncture, they've introduced a lot of characters, and I still don't know where it's going. One
I
thing I
also
was
feel like.
telling,
Go ahead. Sorry.
one thing I was telling Twan offline before we got on is that there's a scene in episode one where he's sitting at the meal table or whatever, the dining hall, and he's talking to a character who's apparently a fortune teller, and she says something to the effect of, "Your impression. Let me give you some advice. Your impressions that you have of me and everyone else here, including your companion, are wrong. And you do well to note that, and like I felt like that should have been the point where they ended the episode, but I felt like it was out of sequence. I felt like that should have happened later in the episode because the juncture and point where they chose to end it at didn't feel like a true ending. It didn't feel like anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, but overall, I'm going to give this episode a needs more training, and the reason why is because I feel like I was intrigued enough, and I'm curious about the characters that I'm coming back for another episode. But had that not been the case, had this anime not been so beautiful, had these scenes and shots and angles been so effective, I don't feel like I would have been able to do anything more than a special beam cannon. But needs more training for me.
So, quick question: the main character that we have, what is his thing? We know there's a woman that does art really well, like she's a savant of art. There's one that is savant with computers. I forgot what the other. There was another male in this, but our main character, what is his thing?
He's just a caretaker for the because he was. Remember, like if you remember the conversation between him and the fortune teller, he says that she said, "Well, you were brought." She said, "You're not like us because everybody else there are all everybody who's living in this on this island are geniuses, and of some specific profession or whatever. But he's smart, and he may very well be a genius because he apparently has the same um, profession as the person that he's a caretaker for, but he dropped out of school. But like, that's besides the point. Um, but she mentions that he's not there for that reason. The only reason he was brought there is because he's the plus one for the person who was actually invited there, which is Kusanagi. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right. I guess I missed that part. Um, Kursan, how'd you feel about this?
Oh boy. So, like, okay, so the you guys touched on the one thing, the beginning of this show, the first sequence where he's talking to the girl and they're having this like philosophical discussion. That first quote really got me, where it's like, do you carve your place in the world, or you let the world carve into you? Like, I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I really like what they was doing. I thought the girl character design was really good. Like, each of them looked really unique, and um, I think, Paul, you're right. They did take some interesting choices with the shots they took, basically. Um, but like, I I felt like the animation almost reminded me like of the show we like 18 if. Like, I didn't think the animation and the
yes,
art was very good, and I was like, short of that beginning sequence, I was like all in. But then, like, as it went on, I was just like, wow, it's kind of all over the place. And I just feel like I guess my opinion on this is I feel like it's a harem anime that's like disguising itself as like a smart anime, like a smart out there kind of thing, and it just doesn't sit right with me. Like I was like kind of like almost like I know covering it with like, well, there's all this exposition and setting all this stuff. I was just kind of like bored with the whole thing. Like I was just like I okay, like we're all like we're just sitting here eating fucking dinner and the one girl's like braid my hair and like I was just like okay, like and like each girl had her own thing and I was just like yeah, this is like some sort of harem anime, but it had this like coding of like no man, we're being real artsy here, dude. Like can you not see what's going on? I'm like no, I guess I can't because I was just like no, all right, like and like honestly, I was like falling asleep for the whole thing. I was just like what are we doing here? Like what are we doing? I'm in a special beam can this. It just didn't do anything for me. Like it just was like okay, like I felt like this could have been like the second episode of fucking 18 if. I would have been like, all right, they just all blend together to me. That's why I was like, I don't know.
I do want to comment on that because I watched 18F and this back to back, and
So did I.
uh, I watched 18F first, and I was just like, no, I take that back. Actually, I watched
You watched
no,
the
I
beheaded
watched
cycle first.
no, I watched 18F first, and then I watched this, and I was just like, God, they're like the same tone.
Ricka,
Yeah.
freestyle.
Like, could you put the like if you put headphones on the main character of this second show, like it'd be the same guy.
Right. Well, but like this guy was like a lot more interesting. So I'll say that's like to me this distinction was that this character you can tell there's an underlying reason why he's so uh, dissociated with everything else or disenfranchised with life. It appears, but like the main character in 18F is just like he's like meh for no reason, and this character feels meh, and you like there's something underneath, and then the other characters actually pinpoint it throughout the episode. So that like it's like a hanging or a nagging thing. You're like, wait, there's something here, but you don't know what, and then the other characters start pinpointing it for you. But I did get the same tone. Animation is vastly different. Like
Mm-hmm.
the animation in 18F is so fucking snot worthy, and this animation looks impeccable. Like
Well, you know what?
Not
I I feel like there's moments where it looks really good. Like there's moments where they like, put a lot of effort into it where it was just like, oh, okay, like there's a lot of motion here, there's a lot of this. But I feel like in general it was just kind of the same thing. Like it just had these like weird thick lines and I didn't know what they were doing. Like I don't know, I just got the same feel from it.
man, I just
See,
like the art style was also better too. That was the
see,
other thing.
like when it comes down to the beheaded cycle, though, I don't feel like the art style. I don't feel like the art style was that amazing aside from the opening sequence, all because of the fact that like when I look at when he was in the garden with the other guy, when I look at when he was in the room with the girl, when he's in the room with both girls, and he goes into the dining hall, I don't feel like any of those scenes were necessarily amazing. Rather than that, they just didn't look like 18 if. I feel like if I didn't same day I watched this, that I wouldn't be as impressed. Like on its own, I don't see where it's like.
Yeah, I don't say. I think that you're like I don't know. I feel like you're glossing over it
What'd you say?
because like I said, I feel like you're glossing over it because like when so like those scenes. So like there's a scene where he wakes up and he gets up and he goes into Kusanagi's room, and like the stairwell that he takes upstairs to go to her room, the walk through the hallway when he actually gets in the room and like he wakes her up and like you can see like the sunlight like or remnants of what looks like sunlight like sitting there. I don't know, I feel like all of these little moments like there's these little details that are being overlooked. Like when you go into that the dining hall, that thing that's wrapping and circling around the outside of the dining hall building, like that thing is ridiculous. And then like it's not just that though too, it's also the shots and angles because like every time he's conversing with somebody, they do like an angle from like straight on, and then they'll do an angle from like beneath their face, and then they'll do like an angle from like the top of their head, like that. It's constantly framing and then reframing each person in an interesting way. That's the other thing about it too. So it's like a stylistic choice too. But as far as like what I was speaking about, the animation is noticeably better, and the art style is noticeably better than 18F. I think the mundaneness of the dialogue and the scenes is what actually kind of gives it that same 18F feel. Because, like I said, tonally, they do feel very similar, but one is a mystery and then one is a sham. And
What is a shit?
18F.
Boo this man.
It'd be funny.
Boo
It'd be
this
funny
anime.
It'd be funny if 18 if was a mystery.
That would be That'd be good.
You know what? We should just watch like all episodes of this, and then at the end, if that fucking bunny pops out in the other show, like I'd be like, oh, what the fuck?
That would be awesome.
Both are forgiven.
So we got one minor. I mean, we got one needs more training and one special bean cannon. What did you give it, Twan?
I'm giving this a needs more training when it comes down to it, because like I think that there are things that are really really good, but I also think that there are things that are kind of boring about it. I also feel because there's only 8 parts, so I'm far more interested to see where this is going to lead. If this was a 24 part 24 episode type thing, I would probably want to watch this, but I think I can get the investment of 8 episodes in me.
I really feel like this is just gonna end up being like some sort of like art house like harem girl anime. Like I just feel it in my bones.
Our house is
So,
best, bro.
so I'm 5 episodes in. It's not that, and yeah, it definitely becomes mystery by basically the hook comes in at the end of episode 2. So you'll see
All right.
what I'm saying.
Well, tune in for episode 2, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so looks like we got that for next week. Before we leave off, I wanted to ask everybody, what are your top 3 anime for the summer season? Paulie.
I haven't even looked at the chart for the new, but like I saw that Shokugeki Soma was season 3 was on the
No,
Wait,
no,
fall.
I'm not talking-
This last one.
No,
right?
I'm not talking about the fall. I'm talking about what we just watched.
Oh.
We're coming up to the fall. I'm
Oh,
talking
that's
about what's
easy.
summer.
So yeah, I posted in the group this link to people saying what they thought the best anime this season were. The majority of them were like fucking wrong, but
Yeah, straight. The opinions were
uh,
straight up wrong.
yeah, just straight
What did
trash.
they say? Oh, wait, what was the?
It was
A
just
lot of them
they were
was
like, yeah,
everybody saying?
gamers, man, is great.
Gamers, man.
Yeah,
they
dude,
were-
it was like, and then the one with the cleaning guy, they were Princess Principal. They were like, yeah, man, this is
Oh,
like the
yeah.
fucking shit. Not a one person was like, oh, Kakaguri's really good. Not a one. I was like, wait, what? Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So I would have to say, Made in Abyss is number 1 for me. All right, so I doubled back because you guys told me to give Kakaguri more time. I ended up watching the entire series and I actually enjoyed it. So you guys converted me. But so what I ended up getting out of it too is that it was more about the spectacle and then her like basically manipulating other people to kind of descend into madness when it comes to gambling.
Yes.
So, actually, I found a different aspect to appreciate it from because.
And if you want to talk about like scenes and angles and like facial expressions, like see like that show
another one, too.
crushes this other show in how they do that. Like this show is just
Well,
like, hey, look at this
I would
weird.
agree with you on that. Yeah, I agree because you're right. Like it goes from like one moment where she just looks like totally adorable to like she looks like she is about
So-
to rape your mother for like if you just go ahead and just gamble for her.
Stick it in.
She's like, oh, you just touched me right there. It's love.
What
So
was it?
yeah, I would say that's number two, and then oh geez, what else did we watch? Twan um,
Classroom, the Elite, Welcome to the Ballroom.
yeah,
Um,
Classroom
we
Elite
have
actually
Love
ends
and
up going downhill.
Lies. Like, there's a bunch of things.
Who? Oh, Love
Yeah.
and no, I take that back. So mine goes Made in Abyss, Love and Lies, then Kakaguru. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Um, what about you, Chris?
Um, you know what's weird? Like jeez, I really like Kakaguri, but like I almost put it in like a weird like other classification. I don't know. Like it's just I don't know. I would say that my top three are um, Maiden Abyss for sure. You know what? No, screw no. Maiden Abyss, Kakaguri, and I know no one else here is gonna believe me, but the
Guri
Vatican,
Guri.
the Vatican anime is
Yeah, I knew that shit was gonna be
the
yours.
Vatican.
You love
No, and
it.
especially I'm especially mad because of that list. They were like, oh, and then you got this fucking shit pile, and I'm like, you know what? And everybody and like two people had maybe one or two people had to go out of their way to like bash the Vatican anime, and I was like, get out of here. And but then like see I was reading some other like lists too of people and they were like like their sleeper hit was the Vatican anime, so I was justified on different things, but I don't know, but that list too, like I didn't see I didn't see anything like I don't know. That list like made me mad. Like I was like, what are these people watching the same things? I don't understand. But Maiden Abyss is cool. I really hope they just keep going with it. I'm actually thinking of picking up reading the manga for Maiden Abyss because I really kind
Yeah,
of like.
I actually am too because the way that last episode ended, I'm just like, I can't wait, dog.
I kind of want to see what's going on with that. Kakuri's just good. Like I kind of felt like it's gonna be one of those things where like what was that other uh, Death Parade? Did you see Death Parade?
Death Parade is really fucking
Yeah,
good, dude.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's kind of in that vibe. Like it's just gonna be like this thing that is just like, hey, you want to see something good? Like maybe like 2 years from now, I'll be like, yo, you want to put in this really cool like anime like to show people? Like I would show them Kakaguri and be like, let's get hype about this. Um, I think honorable mentions. I mean, I'm watching them, but I don't think anybody else here. The Akase Shikodu, um, uh, my two honorable mentions are uh, the the cooking show with the otherworldly like the medieval magic like the
Oh yeah, I
magical
know what you're talking
yeah
about.
the magical cooking thing. That's been pretty good. It's not necessarily like great, but it's like one of the most cozy animes I've ever watched in my life. Like where they're just like, hey, we're cooking and there's fucking dragons and lizard men and they all come into this restaurant and it's kind of weird, but it's also kind of just cool. Like, but it's a cooking show, so they're just like it's more so like let's talk about why these eggs are the greatest thing in the world. But it also goes into like, there's like a lizard man who comes in and he's just like, I need these eggs. So they feed him eggs, and I don't know. It's kind of just weird and kitschy, and I like it. Second honorable mention is the Centaur anime,
The
cause
Centaur's
how's that
Life.
coming
yeah, the
on?
Centaur's Life. Centaur's Life. I like it. The only like it's a real like just goofy slice of life thing, but they the world like it has like all this world building. Like they're just not like yo, we're just centaurs. They like go into the history of all these races and how they all evolved and how their place in the world and why is there racism between the different groups. And like there's an episode where they go to like World War like two and like there's a Nazi concentration camp and stuff in this show, and I was just like, oh wow, this is really crazy. So I kind of give that my second runner. That's like my top five kind of this season.
All right, so we got a top five out of this. I want to say that my top three would be, uh, actually, Welcome to the Ballroom. I feel like it might be the best of the season. In terms of, well, just how I look at it. Fuck it, I don't care what you people think after a while. And then I also, it's like I don't have to explain myself or everything. I,
Just like it, okay.
I think the other, like, I want to say, Kakagiri is also in my top three because that's just fucking entertainment heaven. And I haven't finished Made in Abyss, but I don't want I don't want to leave it off, but I will say that I will watch it. I will watch it just so I can go ahead and give my opinion on it. But in my third spot, actually Princess Principal might be up there because Princess Principal is actually
Wait,
really good.
did you double back on that? I thought you special bean candidate.
I did, and then I finished it, and then I was like, oh, this is actually really good.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes you can't just
So
go off
like,
of
did
one
you watch
episode.
more episodes of Made in Abyss too?
No, I gotta finish watching that.
Okay.
I'll make sure, like I said, I was gonna make sure I watch that. But yeah, Princess Principal is actually pretty good though. It's just that that first episode wasn't that good. That's all. Anyway, but hey, let us know what you enjoyed, about the summer of 2017, and also let us know what you're looking forward to in 2017 for our fall season. If you have any questions for us or comments, or if you just want to tell me how beautiful I am, hit us up at mynamicspodcast@gmail.com. That is mynamicspodcast@gmail.com. Paulie, take us home.
So that brings us to our question of the day. Actually, this one is from Smile 30 round 13. Yeah, I don't know who the hell that is. Anyway, they ask, have you ever watched an anime and then read the source material, be it manga or light novel, that changed things drastically from the source? Were there any that made it better due to the things they changed? Any that made it worse due to the things changed? The one that comes to mind for me is Soul Eater. the the manga ending and the anime ending aren't the same. I actually felt like I liked the version in the anime more so than the one in the manga. Um, but that's the only one that comes to mind immediately. Twan.
If we're just going off of so basically, so the question is, where did I feel that the source material was better, or did I feel that the source material was worse?
What do you? So basically, the question is asking: did the have you ever watched that anime that differed from its manga source? And were the changes for the better or were the changes for the worse?
All right, so if anything, I would say, well, one that pops into my head always is Berserk. So
Ooh.
especially well, because they change, well, the source, because one, like, even though everybody loves the anime and everybody, I'm talking about the 1997 anime, and the movies, they covered the golden age arc pretty well. They leave out a lot of material that I feel is really important. um Also, I also, also, I just think that the weight of the manga, far, it just is so far better than any adaptation that you can make, due to a lot of the illustration that is involved. uh, and also, just like, certain scenes are not able to go ahead and hit that home. Also, like, if you look at the anime kingdom, the manga is fucking amazing, but the anime is terrible. In terms of anime that are better than the manga, though, um, Tekken King Creek comes to mind. I felt like the anime movie was far better than the manga, and, and Fate Zero. I felt like the anime was better than the light novels. Yeah, Kursan.
Um, I don't see. I don't like watch or bleh, don't read a lot of manga. Like, honestly, the one I did like watch. I mean, I know it's kind of, maybe this is an easy answer, but like, I feel like the one thing that inspired me to actually go read the manga that I actually kept up with every week was like Bleach. Like, I would read the Bleach manga and be like, oh, this is cool, and like, I feel like if and then I got excited to see, like, because I was so far ahead in the Bleach manga that I'd be like, oh, I can hardly wait to see how this gets animated. You know what I mean? and there were a lot of times where I felt like the anime let me down, I guess. Like it was doing what it was, but it wasn't like it seemed more epic in the manga than it did in like when it was actually animated. And I don't know if they just were like, yeah, let's just fucking put this out, or they were like, but like I feel like Bleach could have. I feel like Bleach could have been better if like like an actual like company took time and animated it better. And I think that was one thing where like what I mean, like instead of just looking back on what it was now and since it ended, maybe it needed that TLC and didn't need to just have all these filler arcs and like just let's just
But
put all this shit out.
it has the greatest filler arcs ever, though.
It
Which
does
one?
have the greatest filler arc.
Which one is that?
The bounce arc might be the bounce arc is the greatest filler arc of all time.
Sure, okay, and
The
I'll
Bound arc is the greatest filler arc, but also the Zanpakuto.
The Zanpakuto
filler
arc, yeah, that shit was fucking. Oh my god, that shit was
Yeah.
flames.
yeah.
Like
The
it really
Zanpakuto
does
arc,
have
you
like the
had
best. It really does
the
have the
best.
best.
They
filler.
have the like actually, if I was to take the filler arcs and just switch them with the actual series, I'd probably be okay with that. To be
See, I don't.
honest with you,
I don't know because I was really just into the series. Like I really liked the whole series of like just the main story of Bleach. Like I really like the main deal. Now maybe you know what? Maybe we'll get that because they didn't animate that end arc, and maybe someone will take it and be like, hey,
they're not doing that.
I maybe.
Yeah, I've heard rumblings that they are going to actually animate it now.
That's dumb because I remember that they shelved that shit because they were just like, look, it's over, dog. Like that's why he rushed the ending. That's why.
It's done.
That's why.
What do you think about
It
that?
was like,
You are.
son, because they realized, son,
You're already dead.
But you got to think about his sales were going down so fucking drastically. Like the Bleach sales were going, like they went from being number 3 to being not even in the top 10. Like I'm just like after a while,
Okay.
you got to think about it.
Do you
Like,
think that if someone took that last, like maybe this last arc would benefit from a Soul Eater situation?
Yes.
Like if they were
No.
like,
Yes,
hey,
it
we're
would,
gonna take
because
this.
The way it ended
We're gonna
was
take
bad.
this. We're gonna take the last arc of Bleach. We're gonna make it
You wanna know
20.
why?
We're gonna
Because
make
you
it.
have the Fullbringer arc that's already animated. The Fullbringer arc is already animated. You can't go back. There's no take backsies.
Just
The Fullbringer arc
That's
was
not
so
the last
terrible.
arc, though.
I know. I'm telling you, the Fullbringer arc was so bad.
yeah, that was kind
You
of a
cannot do any take backsies to be
Yeah,
like, oh,
No, I'm
That-
saying that here's the issue, though. Like, all right, so I agree with you that the Fullbring arc was bad. We agree on that. What I'm saying is, this last arc starts off so epic
Yeah.
that if they change the ending,
Yeah. If
it will
they go
actually
back.
be an improvement.
all right, hold on. All right, so let's think about this, right? All right, I'm sorry to our listeners, because now we got to talk about Bleach now. All right, I didn't want to do this right now.
I always like
Now
to
we
drop.
gotta go ahead
I always like to drop bleaching because it's always just like, wait a minute.
So let's think about this. All right, so it starts off. So let's think about how it starts off, right? We just have Ishida. He just leaves. We don't even know why he leaves, right? We don't know. There's nothing that tells us why he leaves. There's no argument, nothing. So already there's a pointless reason why he leaves. Don't know. So now, when we get to the whole point of now we get the Quincy's involved, you know what's crazy about the Quincy's? We thought they were dead this whole time. No, there was no evidence that there were more Quincy's aside from him.
Because
Okay?
Juha
So
Baka
now
is a
they're just
fucking-
being shoehorned-
is a fucking boss, dog.
So hold on.
He created.
Hold
He be
on.
out here creating
Hold on.
pocket dimensions and shit.
Hold on. Let me break this down, because I can sit up here and I can look at how there were little seeds placed. I even just looking at his contemporaries, I can look at seeds being placed for Madara. They mentioned Madara throughout the whole thing. They did not mention Yubak once before the fucking Quincy arc. Not once.
Yeah, I agree with
Not
that.
a single time.
But there's a lot.
All right, so
I
now
feel like they've done a lot. Or so. So here's the thing. I feel like the thing that you're overlooking for Juha is the what's the level above the Soul Society, the Soul Kingdom?
the Soul King.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like because we find out that Juha is intrinsically tied to the Soul King. I feel like by extension, Juha has always been an aspect that has
But the
existed.
Soul King wasn't made important until the last arc. If this, like, So let's for instance, if Aizen's like now, let's look at this. If you plant the seed, this is all based on storytelling, dog. If to plant the seed that Aizen was doing what he was doing because he found out secrets like, oh, this dude of Soul King, I want that power, blah blah blah. I want to destroy the Soul Society. They do all this, that, and the Soul King is intrinsically involved. Then okay, fine, well, damn good. We make it so now you put the fucking point in somebody's head of saying this person is important. The Soul King ultimately only he's not important other than I'm huge power buff for fucking Juha. That's it. That's all it becomes. He stops being important. Soul King's not important.
So I think you got too far ahead though. Like the thing to me that really
because I'm just
yeah, I know I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, like, those are the things that they could just change about the story.
Son,
did I break some sort of taboo? Should I not brought up Bleach?
I'm saying that he got blocked by by Shonen because on Twitter for making death threats to Kuba.
My point still being.
Should I not have brought up? I didn't know I brought up a trigger word on the show. Hey, how about Bleach? Fuck this shit. I can't even.
I will take this. I will say this to my dying days. Bleach was supposed to be a better Yu Yu Hakusho. It was supposed to be, and I stand by that. It was supposed to be a better Yu Yu Hakusho.
There are points when I watch.
And he just shits on it.
Yeah, there are points when I watch Bleach and I go back and I watch Bleach. I'm like, man. This could have been so good. Like, there are points where I'm even... Like, I'll even watch, like, Soul Society arc. I'll even watch, like, when they were, you know, in Mexico. Like, just being like, man. Like... I'm like, these... I always have to correct McHenry on that, because he'll be like... Because when I was watching Bleach, he'd be like, hey, are they still on Namek? And I'm like, nah, man, they're in Mexico.
When they were in Mexico. Hey,
that was it.
There were times I used to watch Bleach and I'd be like, no, Anakin, you were the chosen one.
But
like,
that's
Bleach
the shit
was supposed to be the chosen one, dog.
But that's the shit that bothers me, because it's like I'm just looking at it based off of one, the shit tier arc of the Fullbring arc basically says nope, we fix all. It's just like nope, we don't care. Like,
well, it's a reset button, but like
it's a reset button.
Yeah, but this arc begins with Captain Yamamoto dying, dog.
Yeah.
Like, no, it doesn't begin with Captain Yamamoto dying. Hold on, because no, I'm about to tell you, no, it doesn't. No, because it doesn't begin with that. Now, if it began with that, then yes. If it like,
I'm saying, but like, it wasn't much. It wasn't that.
But every time I was reading, when I was reading the manga with him coming out with his thing, with his Bankai, I was just like, every week I was like, yes, there's even more to it. This is great.
Like, the fact that anybody is able to kill him is just
that's cool and all. But here's the problem. So here's the problem with that. Still, because now even when he dies, even his death isn't that, even his death stops being that important, because you want to know why? Oh, we got the Zero Squad, and what? We don't know shit about the Zero. There's nothing being planted. This is my point, Paulie, is that there is nothing being, like,
you're saying things that I would agree with. I'm just saying, like, I feel but it goes back to Kira-san's original question, though. Could this benefit from them actually changing the mistakes that were made in the anime?
They would need to reboot it. They would need to reboot the whole thing.
And then like
Bleach.
Series?
What if they re-edit it? What if they make out like just Bleach Kai?
No, they need to reboot everything and then change a lot of the story structure.
I think the last arc could be like Kai'd up, put into like a 24 episode thing, and like put a nice end cap on Bleach. Even if they Soul Eatered it and made a different ending, I think people would be fine with it.
No, I wouldn't be, because I know.
Yeah, but you don't count anymore because you're not. You're a Kubo
He's on the,
anarchist.
It's on the FBI most wanted list. Kubo.
You know, but yeah, you know who does?
Hey,
You know who
Japan
did
is
a
a
great?
no-fly zone for me.
You know who did a great ending
He's a
But yet,
shooter on the
I
grassy
will say
knoll.
this, right? Despite all the things, despite all the problems Naruto had, despite all the infamous fuck ups Naruto did, it capped off well. And it also, aside from the whole Kaguya situation, it other shit. It actually sat up here and was like, okay, we'll put a dash of here. We'll plant these seeds along the way, because you know what? We're gonna use them for the whole fucking coup de grace when we get to the end. It's like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's still planting seeds. It's putting the fucking thought in the mind. You don't sit up here and be like, oh, here's the big baddie that you just didn't know about because, fuck it. And then you say, oh, okay, well, let's make somebody super, super powerful. And then we're like, you know what? I'm just gonna take that from you. And then you're like, oh, well, what the shit? You just took my powers. That's fucked up. And then they're like, well, there's a god in this too. We're gonna take his powers. And then we're gonna sit up here and do all this team building shit. And oh shit, you're a fucking Soul Reaper, Quincy / fucking Hollow guy, and you're gonna do all this shit. It just made no sense. It became a clusterfuck. It became a giant clusterfuck. It was dumb, and I hate everybody involved. I hope Tite Kubo in hell right now.
What do you think is
And
next? Does he
I
has he
only wish-
does he have another project? Does he have a
oh.
new project? Is he coming out of the woodwork with something yet?
Oh, Kubo?
He better
I
not.
think he's too sick for that. But like, all right, so there's so many epic points in it. So I wholeheartedly agree that he botches the complete ending, and he didn't do enough foreshadowing to make these characters pay off. So we agree to that extent. But there are some epic moments in here. So like the Kappa Yamamoto fight, the passing of the torch, so to speak, when what's his name becomes the new Captain Commander.
When he comes to Captain Commander.
Yeah, the passing of the torch. For
See, but then even
for
Kenpachi,
Zaraki
even Kenpachi
Kenpachi.
getting his Bankai, that shit was whack, dude.
That was whack.
Son, that shit was
No,
whack. That shit was whack.
That was super whack.
Yeah.
But
Shit was
like
whack, dog.
it made me mad because like he finally said his Shikai's name, and then like later on he does the Bankai, and his Bankai was so underwhelming. But this is the issue with the Kenpachi. The way they did this character throughout the story, I'm telling you, there was no way ever that they were
Right.
going to make a satisfying Bankai.
I think
live up to the
I think that
hype.
they could have.
I think I talked.
I think that they could have.
No.
No, because think about. Hold on, just think. I just want to say this, right? So let's say, because I've thought about this numerous times. So his Shikai was big sword that can cut through anything, right? All right. So let's do away with that. Let's automatically just make it so that it just becomes much like how how his Bankai is, where like with Ichigo, where his fucking cloak change and you're able to see that it's amount of reishi that he has. That's the whole big thing about Kenpachi. He had a bunch of fucking reishi that he just was fucking spilling out his body. And then his Shikai, you can just make it so that, all right, well, I think they went into the right direction of his I'm gonna transform, but they made it so like the sword was pointless. It was like, well, what's the point of it? You have no weapon. Your body is a weapon? No. Why don't you just make it so that, all right, well, the longer he uses his sword, the longer he like goes into madness or some shit like that. Like, there's ways that you can do certain things that make it so it feeds into the Kenpachi characters, into the whole notion of
there are
like,
ways.
all right,
I'm just saying that to me, ultimately, the hype surrounding Kenpachi was greater than the payoff would ever be able to be. Is the issue?
Yeah, I
It's
felt
not like-
because he didn't use two hands for a sword, dog. He was that dangerous.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
I actually that end of that fight with what's his name, the skinny I forgot his name.
You talking about the guy from
the imaginary Imagine Dragons guy.
The skinny dude, the skinny Jesus, I can't forget his name now. Why am I blanking on it?
Are you talking about the Aran? Are you talking about the?
Yeah, Arankar. Yeah, the skinny Arankar guy. And when he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna use two hands," see, I felt that was like a bad payoff because I was just like, I was like,
I felt
I was like, man, this guy might be like this might be the end of it, and then he's just like, yo, I'm just gonna cut you up, and I'm like,
See,
what the
with that
fuck?
whole thing of like they didn't
What did he
make.
use? Kendo or something like
Yeah,
that?
He just
Or
all he did
Kempo?
was just use basic kendo, and they were just like he and Yamamoto was just like, yo, you can't use this anymore because you're way too strong.
hmm
It was so it was like I think like I also think that the whole aside from Aizen, the whole notion of the Arankar or the Waco Mundo art stopped being important. It stopped
Mexico art.
Mexico art, Mexico the art and shit. But yeah, like it's just like that's I think that's like once you start making those underlings stop being important, like people were so fucking enamored when Grimjow came back, and it was like,
Yeah.
why? Like Grimjow wasn't important. Like
Mhm.
he had a cool art design, and that was it. Like,
Yeah. Well, that I think that's
Because
one of.
Grimjaw got Ichigo out of his funk.
man, fuck that.
I-
Fucking
I
the
think
other
that's-
dude pulled the full fucking beast out. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like
Yeah, I kind of feel
the
like
fucking who's the devil dude? Something
Irlika,
whatever
yeah.
his name is.
Yeah.
Urukia.
Yeah, see, and again,
Yeah.
that was a cool moment when he was like, when Ichigo went full, like, hollow, and I was like, oh shit, like, and he was just like an animal. Like, that was cool. Like I said, there's like, it's like, Bleach is just like a series of just moments, and in between's like, well, alright. And the payoffs are usually like, eh. But, like, I still like Bleach, and I still hold it, like, I don't know, for some reason I still hold it in kind of like a high regard,
High
even though.
regard, yeah.
Yeah, I still kind of hold it in a
But
high regard,
I think
even
that's
if.
why though.
Hmm?
I said I think that's why though. Like, so here's the thing. Ichigo, every payoff moment for Ichigo hit, except for the full bring arc. But every other payoff moment for Ichigo hit the nail directly on the head. Like it was. Which one would you say did not?
Final the final Tetsuga.
Get the fuck out of here!
I thought that was cool.
The final hold on,
It
let's
looked
think about it
cool.
like this.
It's
Hold on,
final
hold on, hold on,
Getsuga,
hold on,
first of all.
hold on. So let's think about it like this, right? So now the build up. He has to go through the whole training arc, right? He has to go through the whole training session with his
Okay.
with himself. So
Yeah.
now he learns then he learns that his he was able to learn the name of his fucking of his sword and shit, of his Zapato. He's able to understand that the hollow inside him is affecting in this as well. Then he's able to master all that. He comes back. Now he comes back in this badass form. Aizen, most powerful motherfucker on the planet. You know what happens? He throws the fucking sword at him. He does not kill Aizen. He does not kill him. His powers just go away. That's it. There's nothing that happens.
No, I guess you're missing
He
the point.
breaks
I'm
it-
saying
yes, he
the
breaks it out of
payoff.
that form,
No,
but that's it.
the payoff being the actual, like coolness, the hype factor. Of, all right, so like he gets a new transformation. And the new transformation, does it actually do shit? Does it actually live up to the hype that you're like expecting? Yes,
No,
it does.
there is no payoff.
Yes, it does.
It does
Yeah,
not.
I felt
you don't-
I was satisfied with it. I was like, wow, this is really cool as shit.
Everybody loves, or except for Twan. Twan
Don't
lives in a
don't do it.
different-
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Because you live in a fucking different ecosystem. Like everybody loves Final Getsu. Like the shit was so fucking hype, dog. Like and that's ultimately my point. I'm not saying whether he killed Aizen or not. We knew he wasn't gonna fucking
I
kill
thought that he was
Aizen.
going
That
to
shit
kill
was never
Aizen. I
gonna
thought
happen.
that it was going to be like, oh,
Nah.
I'm going to use this
No,
power.
he already came into the battle trying to like be peaceful and shit. He was just like, Aizen, let's not do this. And Aizen was like, nah, but young
Son.
buck, I'm like as powerful as ever. Like I'm
I'm a
about to
god
kill
now.
you.
Isn't this
Like,
cool?
I thought that
Check
they
out
were
this
gonna
god
take
shit.
Goku- I thought that they were going to take the Goku route where they just made him super powerful. They was going to use all his power to kill this godlike being, and then it was going to be like, oh, that's it. That's the end of Bleach. And I was going to be like, you know what? I'm okay with that, and everything was going to be okay.
No, well, I do agree that it should have ended there.
Yeah,
Like,
I
thought the-
yeah, I think I would have been fine with that ending. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if they redo this last arc, they have a chance to maybe make things right. I don't know.
They can't make anything right because they already did these
Yeah.
previous arcs.
Yeah, Juha is kind of like, but all right, so Juha, so Kubo messed up Juha way worse than Kishimoto messed up Madara into
Or
Kaguya.
Kaguya. I can
Like
see
that.
that. Yeah.
Well, no, it's he messed up Madara because he said the reason why he had to put Kaguya in there is because he painted himself into a corner with Madara. Like he made Madara so difficult to beat that he didn't know how to
Son,
plausibly create a situation to beat
he
him.
made listen, once he put Madara against a whole army as a literally a one man army going against a whole army, he already became too hard to beat. Like I don't think that there was anything else that could have happened. There was nothing else that could have happened actually.
That's still one of the greatest scenes I've ever seen in anything. Madara versus an entire army.
He just runs up. He just runs up, and he's like, he's like, oh, you think you go? He was like, bring the next one, and he just starts beating ass. That's it.
Dog, he just run up
He's just,
smacking ninjas, dog. Like
he's
just
like
smacking ninjas.
lining these niggas up, and he puts a tag on one of these. and, and at the end of it all, the biggest part of it all, though, is that he brings out two fucking comets out the sky, and then and he's like, "What now?"
You know the funny thing about that is like this entire time he just whooping their ass on the ground, and like all along it was really just like it was really no hope. He could have just commented them from the beginning. He was just doing that for sport.
He did a double comment because he found that shit funny.
I feel like I shouldn't have like brought up Bleach. I feel like I just trolled us like somehow. Like I just
No,
trolled the entire.
it's all good. I actually think that this is a good because it's a good
There
example
is-
of answering the question that we got from the user though too. Because
it's,
ultimately, I still agree
it's
with
therapeutic to talk about Bleach.
although there are a lot of issues with Bleach, but like I was saying earlier, all like I think one thing that Bleach has always managed to nail, with the exception of Fullbring arc, which is everybody feels like I've never felt a unanimous sigh happen like I have with the Fullbring arc, but like other than that, like the one thing that's so cool about Bleach is that at least with Ichigo, even if they didn't manage to do it with the other characters always, they always managed to do it with Ichigo. Ichigo, every time he got a new transformation, that shit was like hype as fuck. It was dope as fuck. And you moved on to the next thing, and you're like, there's no way he can top this. And somehow he manages to top it. Like when he went full hollow against Urukia, like you're like, there's nothing that's gonna ever be greater than that. And then he goes Final Getsuga, and you're just like, like that's the one thing about this series that they've always managed to do so well. But like that's it's also the downfall is that they've never managed to insert stakes within the series, and they never managed to like do the same thing for other characters. Like one thing I used to get so upset about was like the other captains. Like here Ichigo is just continuously just getting getting more epic by the day, and then like these captains they come out doing the same shit that they was doing in the first arc, and I'm like, yeah, dog, like frozen ocean model. Like how many times you gonna say that shit and think I'm gonna be excited about it? I'm not excited about it anymore.
Yeah. I think what was it? The only interesting
that's the thing that like.
Yeah, I think was it like only like Rukia kept getting new things to do like with her ice thing.
Nah, it's not that she got new things. It's just that they didn't show it until like halfway
Well,
through.
that's because she had gave up her powers to Ichigo at the beginning of the series.
Yeah.
Like there's
so
a, like
so
there's
you
a,
didn't get to see any of her abilities until like halfway through the series.
yeah, like there's a bunch of people that like, and I think that's the other problem with the Fullbring art is because of the fact that, but that's the Fullbring. I honestly think that the Fullbring art is really just the inherent problem of Bleach. It is because you already created bad storytelling by not bringing up certain pieces, certain important pieces.
Well, hold on, no. because at least with the Fullbring arc, they did foreshadow that all the way from the very beginning of the series. So the only issue is that
Oh, I'm sorry, not the Fullbringer. I'm sorry. The Soul Society War arc. That's what I mean. The
okay,
final arc. The final arc is where, that's the culmination of bad storytelling, all because of the fact that you do not bring up the fact, like, there is no precedent of other Quincy's aside from Ashita. Um, Him leaving is out of his character. You
well,
also
his
have
father
the,
was there, but still, like they never did anything with him. So I still agree
yeah,
with you.
yeah. So then the other issue being is that when now we keep, it's like we keep trying to go ahead and saying like, okay, well, Ichigo's important, Ichigo's important, Ichigo's important, but even throughout the whole thing, Ichigo doesn't necessarily feel important other than I am the chosen one because I'm just the chosen one for some fucking reason. And then and then when we go to just it being like the side characters, you start seeing how ultimately the side characters aren't important. Like once we get to that
Yeah.
final arc, we see how badly the side characters are so not important. They just everybody just did their shikais, their bankais, and that's what it became. But aside from that, like it was probably 10 characters max that mattered, and I would say five of them really had fanfare. The other five are just like they just been in the story long enough that they fucking mattered. So it's like
You
that's
know,
I mean, but is that? I mean, I mean that's just. I think that's just that they just had so many characters that it's like I don't know how you're gonna, get
I
everybody.
mean, to be fair, Naruto had a similar issue, but I think this is
yeah.
a characteristic of any major ensemble show. Like at some point, especially for long form shonen, because you're gonna get to a point where those characters aren't gonna matter. One thing I really respect about Yu Yu Hakusho is that they only had like four primary characters throughout the duration of the show. So even though Yusuke is the main character, like his three companions, they get about equal development throughout the series, and so we don't experience the same letdown. But then again, you see the same thing happen to a major extent in the Hunter x Hunter series. So it's basically telling that Tagashi really understands that these characters need to be developed a certain way.
But
And we
even
can't.
that plagiarist asshole fucking Kishimoto, he was able to go ahead and make it so that Naruto, Sasuke, and even Sakura to some extent are damn near comparable to one another. Like
Yeah,
Sakura essentially is the physically strongest person on the goddamn planet.
yeah.
So it's like,
If you did you see any of Boruto? Because
no,
Jesus
I'm not.
Christ.
I'm not watching that.
Yeah,
Y'all can have that.
no, I don't want Boruto. Trust me. I felt that it should have ended with Naruto. But there's a scene with Sakura that really just makes me like appreciate her character. And I didn't appreciate her character much during the Shippuden. So, but ultimately, yeah, there's some writers who do that. But when you get these huge ensemble casts like Bleach and Naruto, a lot of characters like Neji and are gonna be bastardized because they weren't really developed beyond the scope of the original series, and that's an issue. There's one character in Bleach who stands out to me that really kind of symbolizes exactly what I'm talking about. Um, uh, is it Kisuke?
You talking about the commander guy?
Urohara.
Okay.
Urohara.
Urahara, yeah.
So like, yeah, Urohara. He's like a very central character at the beginning. He's like a mentor character, but like as we go throughout the series, like he continuously is just like not really super relevant. Like he only becomes like somewhat relevant during the Arankar invasion arc,
Well,
where
he becomes
when
well, he
Aizen.
becomes relevant. Not in the manga. He becomes relevant in the anime all because of the filler arc of the thousand of how Aizen was able to go ahead and go to his betrayal.
Yeah, no. See,
Yeah.
he's relevant
Well, with
there, but
the
I'm just saying.
he was relevant. He became relevant with the previous captains. What were they called?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the ones who became the were they in
the
Aurora Guard?
the
visors.
visor.
Yeah,
The
Yeah, the
visors.
visors.
yeah, they
Yeah,
became the visors.
yep.
So like, but what I'm saying is like ultimately he's still like just like so like background like throughout the entire series, and it's just like there's these little moments where he has like something, but like then you're just like so ultimately there's not much more to his character. Okay, well. If it's not for the visors, then he would be like a nothing character for the most part. But like all the other characters, like Chad and Orihime, like even Ishida, you felt like this was like a ass pull that all of a sudden that Ishida is just like in with these other Quincy's all of a sudden. But
Hmm.
like you don't know how this came about or whatever. But like Orihara, like just like in the final arc, he has like one moment with um
I think it was the right, basically the right hand of Juwok.
like what's the chick's name, the black chick.
Uh, Yoruichi.
Yes, Yamarichi. Um, so he has like one moment with Yoruichi in the final like Soul Society War arc or whatever. So like other than that, like he just kind of like background. And like and at the beginning, he was just like this super cool character, and you was just like, man, I can't wait to learn more about this character.
Hmm.
And like I feel like other than what we did learn in the Visor arc, like it just ended up being like very low payoff for me. Um, and I think that's like my feelings about most of the characters in the show, other than like Ichigo, and that's pretty much it. So anyway, uh, I digress.
Sorry, sorry, I derailed everyone by mentioning the B word.
That's funny.
As always, we appreciate you guys for stopping by. Thanks for the question that we got. We hope to get more of those in the future so we can continue to answer you guys' questions. If you'd like to stalk us around the internet, you can reach us at My Namek Podcast on Twitter. We are at My Namek Podcast. Also, we are on Anime Amino. If you'd like to support the show, please visit tpublic.com /user prep time shop, and shop is spelled with a zero, to pick up a My Nemix t-shirt or other paraphernalia. We'd greatly appreciate that. As always, thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you guys next time. Later.
Later.
Bye.